What's up guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and happy Artsy Fartsy Friday. Today I'm going to be showing you my February Copic colors illustration using the colors E13, R22, and E27. Before I get into talking about this illustration and the colors that I used, I wanted to mention that if you are a patron, this line art is available for you to download and color for yourself at any tier. So if you pledge a minimum of $1 to my Patreon, you get this line art to download. I'm thinking of doing this a little bit more frequently on my Patreon just because I feel like I want to offer more consistent rewards for the lower level tiers. You guys know if you're a physical rewards patron, you get monthly rewards sent to you in the mail. This month I sent out custom Valentines that I designed and created myself. They were all sort of centered around a taco tequila theme because my personal tradition for Valentine's Day with my boyfriend is to go to Taco Bell because we hate waiting for reservations at crowded restaurants. So that's our plan for Valentine's Day this year. I know when you guys are watching this, it will be the day after Valentine's, so I would love to know how your Valentine's Day went. If you don't celebrate Valentine's, I completely understand. It is kind of a silly holiday, so I would love to know how you spent your day in spite of Valentine's Day as well. Leave that in the comments down below because I am very interested to know. Going on into this illustration, I just want to say that I'm really happy with the colors for this month. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the hashtag Copic colors challenges because most of the time I only have one or two of the colors rather than all three. I have a feeling they've looked at their sales and they throw in at least one unpopular marker each month, which makes people more pressured to buy those markers. So from a marketing standpoint, this is genius. From a creative standpoint, it's a little frustrating. However, I love the colors for this month. These are all colors that I've had in my collection for quite some time, especially E13 and R22. I'm sorry, R22. These are oldies but goodies in my collection. Seriously, markers that I've had for like 5 or more years. And I really, really like them. When I looked at the colors for this month, I could already tell that they were going to work well together, which gave me a lot of peace of mind. It does remind me a little bit of some similar color schemes that they had around this time last year. And there's something that I like about the pink and brown combination. So I had a little bit of a hard time brainstorming an idea. It's a little too easy to do something cliche. I think especially with Valentine's Day happening this month, my mind immediately kind of jumps into the lovey-dovey pink hearts kind of mindset. But I wanted to do something that conveyed just a little bit more character. So I thought about creating a character and having her wearing lingerie. Obviously this isn't anything super lewd or inappropriate or anything. She's completely covered. But I thought this would challenge me to play around with translucency a little bit, which is something that I often struggle with. Showing the sheerness of fabrics is something that can be kind of difficult. And so I thought this would be a really good opportunity to challenge myself to do that and to do it in a limited color palette. So I have a feeling that I've done translucent fabrics in the past. I think I probably did some during the Zodiac project, but I used a lot of colors in the Zodiac project. To convey a fabric as being sheer with only 3 colors was going to be pretty difficult, and I knew it was going to be a challenge for me to preserve some of the white of the paper to do that effect. And so I played around a little bit with the sketch. I had a few variations of the sketch before I settled on this one. And I liked this one because I wanted the character to appear as though they weren't necessarily thrilled about the idea of having to wear lingerie on Valentine's Day. And I feel like that's probably a pretty relatable concept for some of you. So I wanted this character to look like she would rather be wearing sweatpants. That's something I can relate to, and I feel like maybe 1 or 2 of you can as well. So I wanted this character to have this look on her face like she wasn't super jazzed to be wearing this little lacy number. And I wanted to keep it PG-13 because my channel is not a channel for inappropriate content. I do a lot of kind of pinup style artwork, but I always keep things censored, and I'm mindful of my audience in that way. So you can see for this part, when I'm moving on to coloring the dress, I had sketched very light, loose lines for where her body was going to be visible under the fabric. And what I did was I laid the color down very lightly, and I wasn't super particular about it being smooth. If it was a little streaky, that's okay, because then I basically go over it pretty heavily with the colorless blender. And when I do that, I kind of found that it gave that sheer effect I was looking for. So I continued to do that for the rest of the dress, and then once I was happy with the way her body was going to look under the fabric, I went over top of that with another layer of this pink, which is going to be the color of the dress itself. So this way you're still able to see her figure underneath and how that would look layered on top of the sheer fabric. So I like the result. I think it's really cool, and I do think that it conveys what I wanted it to convey, which was this sheer, delicate fabric. If you guys have your own tips or advice on how you color sheer materials, leave it in the comments down below, because I feel like I could always learn and challenge myself more with this particular technique. Hopefully watching me do it has been helpful. I feel like this is a good way to showcase this skill because it is a more simple, straightforward illustration, and you get to see very clearly how I handle doing this technique in this piece. In some places I do go over and layer the pink to look a little bit darker, especially in the folds, and when I want to bring a little bit more light, I do go in with a colorless blender to get rid of some of that color and make it just a little bit lighter. So that's just sort of the thing I do with Copics in general, but especially with these limited color challenges, because I want to get the most out of one singular color. You can see with the skin, I used entirely one color to get those shadows, and I was able to get several different tones in there to make it look like there was shadows and dimension to her face. I did struggle a little bit with the hair because I was just finding that this E27 marker wasn't layering up as well as I had expected it to, especially as well as the other two colors. So I just felt like I wasn't getting a lot of depth, and so her hair was looking sort of flat, at least in the way that it was being colored. Obviously she's got a lot of volume, and I had a lot of fun kind of drawing up this hairstyle. I think it looks really cute. So I kind of just went with that style. I thought to myself, if it's going to look like a flat, solid color, I'm going to have to do something else to make it look textured. And so I did that with the line work instead, and I sort of went in at the end and added just a few extra lines to make it look a little bit fuller and more textured and just have some more dimension and variety. At this point, I wasn't sure that I was going to add anything else to the illustration, but looking at it, I just sort of wasn't all about the plain white background. I think there's something about having a plain white background as my video backdrop now that makes me just not as comfortable with a character floating in white space. So I went in and just added these very basic pink stripes to the background. They were a little off-center, which was kind of frustrating. I should have planned that out better. But this was just supposed to sort of indicate a wallpaper or a backdrop that she's standing against. It's not a super elaborate background. It's definitely no Zodiac Project background, but it is something, and I think something is better than nothing, especially in this case. The lopsidedness was bothering me a bit, so I do balance that out a little bit closer to the end, and I make the stripe on the right-hand side a little bit thicker, and I thicken up the one in the middle a little bit just so that they don't look quite so uneven. But I do think that the placement of the pink lines do kind of make the character pop, stand out a little bit. I liked that I was able to avoid too much pink on pink with the dress and the backdrop. So I'm happy about that. And all in all, I really like this piece. I think it's simple, I think it's fun, it's flirty, it's seasonally appropriate, and I like the facial expression because it's just a little bit sassy, and I think that that's definitely more fitting with my personality. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I don't think it's anything spectacular or amazing, But I am going to have prints of this available on my Store Envy shop. I haven't been neglecting my Store Envy shop, although I don't post on there as frequently as I would like. And again, if you would like to color this for yourself, you can go over to my Patreon, and if you pledge a minimum of $1, you can download it and color it for yourself. And if you do color this for yourself, I would love to see it. So please send it to me, snap a picture, upload it to social media, tag me so that I can check it out. And also just a reminder, I am featuring artists weekly over on my Instagram. If you post your artwork on Instagram or on Twitter using the hashtag ArtsyFartsyFriday, I will feature you on that day, and I will feature you in the following video that week. So yeah, just a reminder to you guys, because I haven't had any artists participate in the last couple of weeks. It is not limited just to illustrations, but if you do anything creative, such as knitting or photography, I would love to see that as well. So go over to social media, post something using the hashtag, and I would love to share it. So you can find more information about that in the description bar down below if you are interested. What else do I have to say? I feel like I have so many announcements every time I do these videos, and I just end up rambling on and on and on. So I apologize if this gets a little bit redundant. I'm just finishing up this illustration at the end by using my white Faber-Castell India ink marker that I got in my Art Snacks box this month. If you missed that video, I will link it in the description bar down below, at the end of the video, and in the video cards. So if you want to see it, you have many different ways to see it. And I did this just to sort of outline the figure and make her pop out a little bit more, and I thought this was a nice kind of cartoony touch. So yeah, we're nearing the end of the video. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that if you don't have a Valentine, that you can be my Valentine, and we can just be internet Valentines. I think that would be pretty nice. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you on the internet. Bye guys.